Hello everyone, it is me, ATARi HMB. What is going on today, my fellow peoples? So today, before we even get into this big thing you see on the screen, we're going to go ahead and have a part 2 of the last previous stream and a discussion regarding the tiering system and how to power scale in general, or particularly just a suggested way on how we can power scale. And today, we have with me, introduce yourself.
It's me, Sunny D.
Those good boys.
Hey, and let's see who we have in the chat today. We have
Tampon flowers.
Look, you don't have to say the name.
All right, man. Super Saiyan Rainbow 2. What's good, boy? I don't know what to put. What's good, man?
Yo, what's up, IDK? SSJ Rainbow 2. Flowers. We're going to call you T Flowers. How is everyone doing today?
What's good, boys?
All right. In today's stream, we're specifically going to be focusing on the topic that I think a lot of people are having a bit of, let me lower this real quick. Basically, we're going to be discussing, okay? the topic of tiering systems again, but more so how to power scale. And why we're talking about this is because we've noticed that recently in today, there's been quite a bit of people who are becoming a little too antsy when it comes to suggesting different levels of like power scale for different verses. And some of it is, well, of course, as I said, you can be respectful to everyone's opinion, but some of them are a bit unreasonable. And, I think you guys will kind of understand what I'm getting at. I'm going to go ahead and let you explain exactly what I mean. Stride.
What's good?
I'm going to go ahead and let you explain exactly. What were we talking about earlier about like how some people are taking it a little too far?
All right, just give me a second.
Uh-oh. Give us one moment.
Sorry, I needed prep time. Guys, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you loud
I
and
needed
clear.
prep time. Anyway, so what we were discussing before is sort of like the asinine power scaling that, versus Battles Wiki or just people in TikTok in general do. Like, for example, whenever I go on TikTok, I see a bunch of people saying that Zoro Solo's fiction, or at least I hear about it. I don't really use TikTok, but I hear about people saying that Luffy's multiversal, Zoro Solo's fiction. It's like a bunch of crazy talk, really. And it's usually substantiated with scans or statements that are very much unfounded or very taken out of context, like universal One Piece, multiversal One Piece. It really comes to a point where power scaling becomes really ridiculous with the community,
I agree.
And people start claiming things like Zoro Solo's all a fiction, Naruto Solo's all a fiction, and they start using these and like I say, they start using these statements and whatnot. For example, there's this one Reddit post I saw claiming that Naruto was outerversal because Gaara called him a necessary existence and took that statement hyper literally instead of what would be reasonable to assume it's metaphorical.
What the hell? Even I never heard of that.
No, I can't. Yeah, it's some crazy. It's like a weird, crazy meta they got going for outerversal Naruto.
Man, that's crazy. Hey, what's up, Timothy? So yeah, exactly. And that's what we're talking about. You have individuals making these absurd claims, and these claims are coming out of nowhere, to be honest with you. Some of them are just I'm just going to say it, it's a little too unreasonable. And they haven't really studied the facts about their characters or really what the purpose of the lore is or how they can be interpreted. And you'll see this a lot, actually. Prime example. Not knowing how to pick up on context clues and not knowing how to use narrative. So again, that's when we go back into the Triforce that we talked about here. Oops. Look how uneven that is. It's beautiful, right? So again, Stride, have you seen my video when I talk about Feats, Feats, statements, and lore?
I believe I have.
Right. So just to recap for most who don't understand, Feats is generally when is pretty much just considering what the character has done on screen. If a character can do something, they typically are going to do that level of feat. And that's essentially what we're talking about. Like, feats are what people usually refer to the most because it's usually undeniable what happened. Though again, feats can be interpreted differently depending on how the artist draws it. So even feats aren't perfect. Next comes statements, which statements are typically if they state a particular character can do something. Like in this example, Stride is a very important legendary warrior who back in the past was once able to threaten to sink the entire continent if angered. We don't know if this was legend or not. Then we see Stride fight with a character later on, and we just see them punching. But then we get another statement, oh my gosh, they're sending earthquakes throughout the entire planet. So then you start to think, does it hold weight? And then they're saying, oh no, if this keeps up, the Earth is going to be completely destroyed by its tectonic plates ripping apart. All statements. We're not seeing any feats, right, Stride? But what would you say to that?
So, by lore, I would scale to continental level, or the person fighting me would just be scaling to, country level or whatever I was gonna sink, when I'm angry. That or I'm suppressing my power.
Exactly. And so if we're having these characters have these statements throughout the story, we have to be careful. I mean, we have to be careful with feats, careful with statements, and with story. Because the thing is, feats can be outliers. Story can be retconned and contradicted. And statements can lie to us with hyperbole. So we got to always consider these factors. They can either be good or they can be bad. And they can mislead a lot of us. And it's not even always our fault. Sometimes it's just the way the writer is going about it.
Yep.
What's good, Zay? How you doing today? Narrative implication can be greater than feats, in my opinion, and I agree with Super Saiyan Rainbow.
Yeah, because that's what the author really intends. Like the author is almost nudging you to say that the characters at this level is doing this feat.
I agree with IDK right here. I think if a statement has weight and evidence is good. Hey, what's up, PUBG lover? And weight and evidence is good. I agree, because essentially, if you have feats that are at least close enough, then we're going to consider the statement to be more than likely true. Wouldn't you agree, Stride? Like, for example, you have characters who have statement like, did Ukiyoda actually destroy Hueco Mundo? No, but do we believe he can, based on how we've seen the lore carry out these characters and the feats they perform earlier on?
Yeah, and the narrative implications. So, with Ukiyoda literally going above Las Noches to release in order to circumvent him destroying it.
Right. So again, these are always going to be susceptible to change. Obviously, they're all susceptible to interpretation, but the ultimate key here is to understand that. And so that leads us off with part one of this particular segment. I'm going to go ahead and start timestamping these, just because I really want to help whoever's watching this be able to like find out where we're going with this. So again, the beginning. So that's the introduction. Next, we're going to go into like how to power scale, particularly using like an example. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about a feat that occurred with a character and how we can use this to kind of indicate what they want us to know about the lore or what characters are capable of. So let's talk a little bit about One Piece. Now, let's not go around saying Universal Plus. We've talked about it before, but Stride, what would you say when Ichiro Oda, and I have the Japanese scans, but for the sake of not having to translate everything, we're just going to use the Viz. When it says here, whoa, he just made Chin Zhao do a face plant even after landing a blow like that. And they said, so the legend really must be true. He really did split an Arctic continent in two with merely a headbutt. Then a guy in the background is shocked and says an entire continent. Next, so next we go into the next scan. Then it says in the background, this is going in the past, a flashback. Chin Zhao states there's a reason this continent has earned the moniker frozen bed of treasure. To even think of cracking this exterior, you have to concentrate an incredible amount of force into a single point. Then he cracks it. Then, this is just confirming what he says in the anime, But both in the anime and manga, when Sai awakens his power, he says the secret technique of the Hashoshuken has been passed on to you. Sai, I bestow the name of Drill Dragon Drill Nail into your martial leg. Now that leg of yours ought to be able to shatter even the ice continent. Which he says as well in the anime. And again, this is exactly verbatim in the Japanese Viz translation, fan translations that other people gave, and even Japanese forums I went on for a while back where they was talking a little bit about it. And moreover, there's even another scan I don't have here where some of the guys in the background are shocked and say, oh no, don't tell me he's going to do the continent splitting headbutt. And they say the exact same phrase in the manga. So if we have the term continent thrown around 5 times verbatim, and we see Chinjiao split the ground, but we don't see like a bird's eye view of the continent, what would you say that gives you an implication of his power? Would you say it would be reasonable to at least consider them around the area of country, considering it was split and the continent's harder than steel? Or would you say it's something we can't use because it's a statement, even though it has a feat that's backing it up? Because remember, when we was talking about feats, this feat right here in particular, oh my gosh, I just realized I'm not showing people here. Let me go ahead and put that on screen for those who can't see it. But yeah, essentially, yeah, going off of that, what would you say about that?
The author's clearly implying that Chinjiao, he has a continent splitting attack. I don't know what else to say. It's been stated several times, like you said. The narrative pushes the idea, and there's a feat backing it up, if I recall correctly.
Yep, there is. And
so it's reasonable to assume that it's clear that Chinjiao has a continent splitting attack. I mean, if Goku blows up a planet, people say he can blow up a planet. Why can't you just say that he can blow up a planet?
Right. And that's exactly what we were talking about. Like, do you know how often and I just want to ask your opinion about this. Just your opinion about this. Versus, okay. Let's go ahead and look this up real quick for the chat. I just want to ask your opinion about this, by the way, as well. When it comes to general discussions on the discussion rules, I should say, on the Versus Battle Wiki, when they use the term, for example, don't create threads upon One Piece based on Chinjiao supposedly splitting an ice continent until the story... Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Ad blocker work. Anyway. Don't create threads to upgrade One Piece based on Chinjiao supposedly splitting an ice continent until the story provides us with more evidence, and avoid using statements only to support it. What would be your thoughts about that? Do you believe there is a little bit of a bias motive behind that, considering what they've done to Bleach and Naruto as well?
Yeah, 100%. There's a bias there. Clearly, they don't want them to be upgraded to continental level.
Yeah.
Clearly, they don't.
Agreed. Especially when you have a bounty over 500 million and other factors. Now, fortunately, somebody put country level plus. But they don't use his continent scaling here at all. Which is weird, right? Like,
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
And they said Garp needed to train more to defeat him. It's like, did Garp really need to train more, or did Garp have to prepare for basically an attack that would hit him like a needle? How are we really going about this? So again, there's a lot to put into question here.
Yo, Roz is with us. What's good, Roz?
Hey,
Yo, what's good?
Welcome, my son. No, I'm just kidding.
Daddy ATARi.
What's wrong, Yusuke? No, I'm just kidding. All right, yeah, Roz. So I'm glad you were able to make it. Let's go. Now we almost got a full house.
It's okay. I had to beat the crap out of my laptop to get here, but that's okay.
Let's read. I want to read something real quick from Zay. Zay put, how was it supposedly a continental feat when it literally showed and stated in the manga? I agree.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, I never read One Piece. How would that be continental if you only split it? So, Flower, we're not necessarily saying he is continental. Like, he'll obliterate a continent if he, like, hit his head into it. What we're saying is that he has the attack potency to split a said continent. And that level of attack potency would be country level plus, depending on how you would argue the size of a continent. But even if you threw an island on, even if you took something like Honolulu and then just chucked it at Antarctica, is not necessarily going to split it, considering the size difference is like astronomically huge. Like it's hundreds of it's at least 1,000 times bigger almost. So if you threw something at Antarctica and you have to factor in this is a continent that's harder than steel. Like, remember, flamethrowers aren't working, pickaxes, and these are relatively very strong pirates. So again, makes you wonder. So I'm gonna read more. The continents in One Piece are massive, I agree. Keep in mind the continent is harder than steel. Agreed. Australia level. Ah, okay. That makes sense then. Yeah, no problem, Flower. See, you notice one thing, we're also going to bring this up, that Flower did just now. And this is something I put for the community. Flower didn't assume. He just asked a simple question. Just how? That's all. So he said, how would that be if you only split it? He's just curious. Notice Flower was seeking more clarity and not assuming he already knows, which is the problem that people kind of seek to be heard, but they seek to be heard and they don't seek to understand. They just want to be heard and want to teach. Everyone wants to be a teacher, a top level power scaler, and everyone has the right to do that. But because of that, that's why we're getting so many of these different mixed interpretations that some, no offense, are a little uneducated. What would you guys say about that? Roz and Stride.
I'll let Stride go first.
Yeah, basically what you just said, honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much what you said as well. Because everyone's a know-it-all. You know, not everyone in our chat, no. But I'm just talking about, in general, people who feel like they know more than you do or us as a whole. This is impossible because, you know, this happened, you know, and then the lore and the feats say otherwise. They feel like they just know more than the rest of everyone else in here, instead of just asking questions like Flower did to get clarity.
Exactly. People don't have their own opinions. I agree, Flower. And so we're also going to talk a little bit more of how to interpret. So I think that's really good for this part of the video. So I want to try to go on for the rest of the stream, and I want to ask the next thing I find interesting. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and start off with something very interesting, and that is going to be, so instead of the whole statements, feats, and lore, we're going to talk about game power scaling. I think that's a good topic to also kind of discuss. And yes, Stride, Roz, you probably know where I'm about to go with this. So, but again,
Yeah, we know.
yeah, but again, I'm gonna do it in a respectful way. Power scaling video games is tricky. No, I'm not talking about tricky from Star Fox Adventures, by the way. But it's tricky. And somebody is cooking something, and something smells like it's on fire.
Yeah, same here in my house, bro.
I did all my cooking yesterday, so I'm good.
Holy crap. That's what it is. Be right back.
ATARi's house is about to burn down.
Yeah, we got a fire going.
It's about to be a building level flame. Bro, building level.
Nah.
Okay,
so
here we go.
Flame.
Wife put the heater on, but it was a bit high. but it was like a space heater. So, continuing back, video game power scaling is a little tricky. And what I mean by this is it's really hard to understand how to power scale. And someone who's really good at this topic is who's a game developer, Craftus. Craftus talked to me a little bit about this, and Roz and Stride, I want to know what you guys think about it. Craftus is not like someone he's not a power scaler at all. But he would say this: it's very hard to gauge a consistent level of scaling for video games that don't have a focused narrative. What do you think about that? Like the Sonic franchise, the Mario franchise, even the Zelda franchise sometimes.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
As you guys said at the same time. And why do you guys
Yeah.
why do you guys think about it like that? Just if you can elaborate.
Roz, you can take this one off first.
Essentially because like when it comes to like video scaling and all, people always have like the in-game mechanics going on in mind first. So you'll have someone like Link, for God's sake, I almost made that basic mistake. Link can go around, breaking pots and all. He could fight these nearly eldritch-esque beings and freaking Ganondorf and all his minions. But yeah, he can get jumped by a bunch of chickens and killed for comedic purposes, or he struggles doing the basics like breaking down a door or breaking up pots like that. People are like, oh, well, he isn't actually universal level like, the lore implies, or higher, because he can't even beat a bunch of chickens. These chickens can kill him. A random shopkeeper can one-shot him if you steal from him. Or you have Mario who can get killed and one-shot by a Goomba if he doesn't have the proper mushroom. Despite the fact that this man took a black hole and a Big Bang-esque shift that restarted the entirety of his universe in Mario Galaxy. So, I mean...
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of hard because in the end,
Universal chicken.
People always want to look at the mechanics, like Kratos struggling to open up a chest and all, but people don't want to take it.
This man can like destroy the freaking world serpent.
Exactly. But like, oh, he's struggling to open up a chest. How can he be, multiversal to complex multiversal or higher? And they don't realize that certain concessions have to be made. Even Cory Barlog stated this when it came to God of War. That yes, he realizes how powerful these characters are, but some concessions have to be made to where, he has to struggle. He just can't go around blowing everything up that he touches, because that wouldn't be fun. That's not going to be entertaining for people.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like
for some.
Yeah, not in the way they're trying to convey the story. Like, you want it to be like your classic puzzle game. You want to convey that element. But, like, it becomes difficult. I mean, imagine if Liu Kang and Kronika were fought at immeasurable speed. What the hell are you going to do about that?
Absolutely nothing.
Like, who won't stop him, bro? Nobody.
Who going to stop? Now he stopped. So, like...
Who won't stop?
Exactly.
We won't stop. We can't stop. No, I'm not gonna go there. Yeah. What do you think, Stride?
Please go.
Yeah. Basically, certain concessions have to be made, for gameplay purposes. Like, you see Mario doing these universal feats, probably even more. See Sonic. Like dogging on like Time Eater, dogging on Alph Lyla while Lyla, dogging on like these multiverse level threats like Solaris, and then you see him getting killed by like freaking random robots, bro, that could like destroy a building maybe. So yeah, it's really tricky, but like clearly the developers don't think about power scaling when they're making the story or game. and yet they still intend their characters to be that strong. If that makes any sense,
Right.
But
So
gameplay wise, they can be killed by those like minions and stuff, but like almost all the time in the story, like in cutscenes, you just see them dogging on every lower minion, like in Devil May Cry or whatever.
exactly. So again, it's important. Now, that's one reason why they are tricky. But then we get into a mix-up of this word. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to talk about this.
Oh boy.
Are you okay?
Canon. So, what do we sorry.
Oh, no.
What do we mean by canon? All right. So, canon is difficult because some games, I know Versus Battle Wiki likes to go into details. I know other power scalers go into details, but we're going to be as logical and realistic as we can. And we're also going to be respectful to other people's opinions and conclusions. But I would like to say a conclusion that, at least from my experience, I cannot agree that, I mean, we know all the links are different, but can we say all the Sonics are the same? I mean, they're all modern Sonic, but did he really go through all those experiences at the same time? Or are some of them separate continuities? In the same case with Mario and with Crash Bandicoot. Kind of. Crash is a little bit more linear than Mario and Sonic, but there are some occasions that Roz will be able to break down, I'm sure, where there may be some questionable things. Like, do you honestly think Rayman is canon to the Marioverse because Rabbids started with him around 06? What are we going to say about that? Are we going to say, like, is that canon or is it just a spin-off crossover? And don't get me wrong, crossovers have sometimes been hinted at, but are they canon? Because we got to remember, something being hinted at or cameo, that's not always a guarantee. And I'm going to go ahead and go into a couple of bits of evidence and examples as to why. But primarily for video game characters, Mario is Paper Mario and regular Mario the exact same. What did you... I'm not going to say my point. I'm going to ask Roz and Stride again, just because I want to, like... Because, again, I'm not... These guys aren't saying what I want them to say. You're not my clones. They're not my shadow clones. But I want to honestly think what you guys... What do you guys think? Like, you can base this off of some of the things we discussed earlier, but... Do you honestly think, based on what you've seen in both games, if you've even played them, that they're the same Mario? Or what would you say Shigeru Miyamoto meant when he said they're the same Mario?
Well, I've seen the statement where it says that Mario's going back to 2D, and I've mentioned this to you before in a phone call, like in a call, that it's more or less just Miyamoto saying that the mascot themselves is starring in a 2D video game, like Paper Mario,
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like if they're talking about the overall mascot. It's like if they say Mickey Mouse is going live action, that doesn't mean that live action version of Mickey Mouse solos all of fiction content. That doesn't mean that version of Mickey Mouse is like the same version of, I don't know, the one from Kingdom Hearts or the one from Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. You know what I'm saying? If they're just talking about the mascot in general. And it's the same thing for Mario, because not only would it be inconsistent for all the Marios to be like in the whole franchise to be the same, but it would make zero sense. It would just make zero sense, and it would be extremely inconsistent,
Right.
Because you have because let me bring up just one example. Do you know that one anime OVA for Mario Brothers where Luigi has like a yellow undershirt and like blue overalls and a blue hat?
Yes, I do.
One anime film.
Absolutely.
At the end of that film, when they save Princess Peach, she's gonna go get married to a prince. Meanwhile, in almost every Mario game, like it's heavily implied that Mario and Peach has a romantic relationship. Meanwhile, in that one, she doesn't.
And what
So
happened?
it's inconsistent and makes no sense.
Yeah, And what happened
It's
to
a
his
clear
girlfriend,
contradiction.
Pauline,
Yeah, well, yeah.
when he was
Yeah, what
Jumpman?
happened to her?
Because they had a Donkey
Mhm.
Kong Part 2. They continued off that. But
Yup.
let's look up Donkey Kong Part 2.
And while you do that, I guess I'll put in kind of like my 2 cents as well.
Please.
So essentially, like when it comes to the whole Mario thing, I can see why it's confusing, mainly because when you have something like the Rabbits crossover, right? And you have that one boss fight against the Phantom Rabbit who's singing. When he's talking to Mario, he references pretty much all of the Mario era. He references the original like 2D era for the original games where Toad's like, "Oh yeah, the princess is in another castle." He references Mario Kart with the red shells and blue shells coming after you, and he kind of like goes on the list that paints it as this Mario being the same as the ones from those previous eras as well. Which again, that could make it a bit confusing compared to what the games are saying, where they're treated like as each separate character.
Right.
So
Especially when you have Mario versus Donkey Kong 2 March of the Minis. And it's
Yeah.
like, Pauline is in there. So, nothing did happen to Pauline. That's still his girlfriend. Therefore, this must be a different continuity where Mario, that's his love interest. And it still remained it off the original.
I know some people believe that's his dad for some reason, but
No. I'm pretty sure they confirmed that Jumpman is Mario. So
pretty sure
it's
they
not his
did.
Yeah.
dad.
So it comes down again. We have Mario 1, Mario 2. But the Mario 2, what happened to that? What happened to Mario 2? Because then what happened to Lost Levels? Oh, sorry, Americans suck at video games and we didn't get it.
Yeah, they just copy and pasted it. Just copy and pasted another game, bro. Bootlegged it.
So then we got Doki Doki Panic. Is that canon? Well, it was all a dream. I used to be word at Mag. Anyway, yeah, it was all a dream. I don't want to. Nope. YouTube, you better not strike this video. It was all a dream. All right, let me stop. So yeah, Doki Doki Panic. Birdo. Oh wait, it's not called Birdo. Oh, okay. So now what? Because apparently, oh my God, what happened to Toad? Jeez, his head, his neck. Anyway, the whole point. What happened? Well, again, could we say Deke Entertainment Mario is the same? Well, no, heck no. Now, obviously we can.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, obviously,
Not.
obviously we can use logic and say like Mario 1, Mario 2, Lost Levels, not Doki Doki Panic. Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario 3, Super Mario World.
Ron Jeremy, Mario ain't canon, bro.
He had to
Bro,
go
this
there.
ain't canon.
Oh my gosh, I can't look that up either.
No.
Oh my
He ain't
gosh.
canon, bro. That ain't the same Mario, bro.
But like overall, like let's look at Paper Mario Jam. Oh, Mario and Luigi Paper Jam. So why is Paper Mario a separate? Why is he separate? But again, like you said with the Boss Rabbit, it's like, are they the same or all these alternate versions? And I'm willing to say they're alternate versions, essentially. It's like GT Goku and Super Goku. I mean, I don't think that's hard to grasp. I mean, even your insults are knockoffs. Get out of my face before I rearrange your face. Like, come on. Bowser's trash talking himself. How could they possibly be the same person? They're not. So again, I mean, we have to use discretion, of course. There are a lot of, like, are the Mario Party games canon? I mean, yeah, they are. And Mario Escaping Black Hole, I mean, kind of consistent with his feats. So yeah, obviously, heck yeah. Mario is an absolute monster. But I just wanted to go over that for a little bit because it's not that so much it's not directed towards the individual. It's more so directed towards a group of people who share this similar common belief, which is fine, but I wanted to just issue why I, and most of us, in the Versus Battle Wiki, and probably Miyamoto himself, don't really agree they're the exact same. Not exactly. So, now can Mario, like for example, they got the main Mario. They say base Mario, Cappy, Flood. What? Wait, what? Okay. Doctor. Okay.
They're scaling for Dr. Mario.
Builder Mario. Okay. Paper Mario series. Then they go into Paper Mario series and then Shiny Paper Mario. Then you ask yourself, why do they have a separate section for Paper Mario himself? Why?
Because they're separate.
Mario and Luigi
Very...
But here's the thing, Versus Battle Wiki, I'm wrong. Versus Battle Wiki apparently believes Paper Mario Jam Paper Mario is not the same as Paper Mario series Paper Mario. So the Mario that Mario and Luigi met is that's not the same as the Paper Mario series Mario, because they believe Paper Mario series Mario is the same Mario as Builder Mario, Flood Mario, Giga Cat Mario from Bowser's Fury, same as Cappy Mario, same as Mario 64 Mario, same as Mario 1, 2, 3, Super Mario World 2 when he was a baby. Even that makes no sense because they went back in time to grab their baby cells, so that means there's a timeline where Yoshi couldn't save Mario and never met Mario. Ugh.
Okay, well, I got a headache. I'm gonna step away.
But all logically, they're not the same Mario. There's just been a lot of arguments on Versus Battle Wiki to kind of get them to stay the same, but no, they're not the same. Just because Miyamoto said that, he's talking about the mascot. The whole discussion, which is based on Mario as well, is just like the whole discussion about, is Mario the same? Well, here's the problem. Mario is definitely not the same throughout all iterations. Because I'm going to ask you this. Stride, is classic Sonic and modern Sonic the same? And let me ask you this before you answer that. Is 06, like, is Sonic Adventure 1, 2, 06, and let's say, for example, Sonic Shuffle the same Sonic?
No. Bro, what? Nah.
Is Sonic Shuffle the same song? Is that canon? Is Sonic authentically scales to every feat in the game? What about the game events that happen in Sonic and the Secret Rings?
It takes place in a storybook, so.
It's in a storybook, but I thought, but. So again, it's very.
I love it.
Jeez. Lumina.
06 is a reboot. Kinda. It's a soft reboot on the series.
So is Lumina? See, now I got to do this. Is Lumina in Sonic Shuffle? Yeah. And also in the Archie. So now what? Is Sonic Shuffle? And again, just because these Marios aren't the same doesn't really change much on its power scaling point. Because again, you can always composite Mario anyway. It doesn't really matter.
Yep.
It's like, so what's the point? Anyway, I digress, guys. We talked a lot about Mario. There's more Marios than Super Saiyan forms. Yeah, there are. Nah, you get sliced. Kirby needs to become the face of Nintendo now. Yeah, 06 is a reboot. Good job, Zay. So, like, again.
Where Mario falls in love with a human. Not Mario, Sonic falls in love with a human.
No. Wait, Sonic 06 is a reboot? I thought it was a soft reboot on the series.
Now, I'm going to ask you this. This is, again, we're having a discussion. We're talking about why we don't necessarily agree with everything, not as a way to debunk everyone, But let me ask you this, Stride. What is your opinion about the whole Mario having save states that he can just dish out in a versus battle? Like if let's say he's fighting Yuha, and he just says, do you think it's consistent for Mario to just say, I'm gonna pause the game and just go to my save file, or I'm gonna access my save file and go to a different save file? Or do you think that's just the game devs just saying, yeah, by the way, we're going to just talk through the NPCs in the game to kind of make it seem a little bit less awkward and make it more interactable for the player?
Oh, I think he just... Okay, there you go.
Did he just get Hawkeyed?
I think he did.
No. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so I think the Mario save state thing is more of a gameplay thing with maybe a little bit of ties to the cutscenes and the narrative, but Mario hasn't consistently shown that to my knowledge. Like every game, he hasn't been shown able to like use this when he's about to get folded. You know, sometimes he loses to Bowser, but he never uses save states. You know,
To go back, because why didn't he do that in Galaxy when Peach got kidnapped? Why didn't he do that in every game when Peach got?
Yeah. If you tried pulling that against Yuha, like I don't think that will work.
Like Yuha would actually say, "Oh shoot, he kidnapped the princess. Okay, let me just revert time." And Bowser, as soon as Bowser's about to do it, is like, "I'm gonna chop your hand off." What the fuck? What?
No, Yuha Bach would be like, "Oh, they're about to kidnap the princess. All right, let me just step right here and then break Bowser's like arm before he could even touch the princess." And boom.
Exactly. So
You just see some endless futures and then just like chooses the most viable one, or just change all of them. Honestly.
So again, like, would I give it to Composite Mario? Probably. I mean, that you could time travel, so of course I would give it the You wouldn't need a save state; you could time travel. But that's essentially what Yuha can do. Is Yuha can literally save state, literally. Oh, I
literally rewrite his own death.
Yo, I killed you. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. What the hell happened? I'm gonna kill you again. Ha! I just killed you twice. No, you didn't. What? You is the embodiment of that one cousin, the younger cousin, back when you were kids. Said, "All right, I just threw a big blast at you." No, you didn't. I blocked it with it.
That is so true. God, that hurts.
He blocks and dodges everything.
Yo, look at this. Yo, look at this picture. Hold on. Oh,
He just automatically has Ultra Instinct before Instinct was a thing.
bro, we gotta hold on. I gotta make this a meme. I gotta totally make this a meme. you are just like, no, you can't kill me.
No.
Oh my goodness.
Stop laughing.
No, you can't kill me.
Oh my gosh! Like just look at this is every little cousin that pissed us off embodied. Like,
Oh my god.
no, you can't block. No, you can't. I blocked it. With you can't kill me. Just imagine fighting someone. I just killed you. No, you didn't. The hell is wrong with you? Yes, I did. No. I can just imagine all these like eyes on him being cockeyed and derpy. All right, I'm having too much fun with this chat. I'm sorry. Yuha is the ultimate. No, you can't do that. No, not today. All right, guys. So overall, there you have it. Now, there's a little bit more intricacies in video game power scaling, and that has to do with something else. Author statements and endings. I think we talked about endings before, but just to talk about it again, Roz. People think, but Kula can't, like, can Kula beat Ash? Let's be honest. If Kula fought Ash, look.
And there he goes.
I'm just gonna say, Ash would Sharkeisha her. Like, for real. Like, if Kula fought at, like, give us an accurate representation of what would happen if she actually fought Ash Crimson, and Ash Crimson was, like, actually, like, trying and not trolling.
Give you an actual representation of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, there's multiple. You know what? You know, she would just be set on fire into an eternal blaze that can't go out unless Ash says so, and she'd literally be turned to ash. Literally, no pun intended.
Nah, that pun was intended, bro.
In the blink of an eye. If Ash were serious, he could just simply do like, you know, Beerus when Beerus got serious with Zamasu.
And if I'm
and boom, just like that.
If I'm recalling, Ash is stronger than Geese.
Yeah, Ash is stronger than Geese.
Consistently.
Keep in mind, you know, I guess you could argue that they're same tier, seeing as how Ash was pretty confident that he could take on Verse by himself. Despite, okay, here's the thing. Ash had just come back to life. He literally just got back from having his whole being erased from existence, but still had his consciousness around to where he's like, yeah, I'm still stronger than everyone here, and I can take on Verse by myself. I don't need any of you else to help me out here. I can do this by myself. Geese had actually trained and prepared to fight Verse. Ash was like, nah, I can do this on my own. In fact, one of his quotes is like, my body is still tired. Like, leave me alone.
So as you could probably see, my friend Xavier's not going to like this, but this.
What? Is your friend a big Kula fan?
Yes.
Oof.
So, yeah, this is exactly what would happen. And literally, when the flames disperse, that's all that's left. You know what that is? Nothing.
Yeah, she's just pretty much, she's done.
There is no existence of her anymore. So, again, that would be exactly what would happen. But you see, you can whoop his ass. However, because of the way game endings work, it could be reversed. And she can body him. And she, like, claps his head off. How? No idea. And why? Because game endings, mechanics. If you beat the game with Kula, doesn't she have a specific ending that fits it?
Yeah. Now, some of it may be tied. Some of it's tied to power scaling. Some of it's not. Like in her ending in Kill 15, it's literally her going to get ice cream. She's not doing any more fighting. She beat the two bosses, and then she's going to go and get ice cream to celebrate. That is literally it.
But like, let's talk about another ending. Shao Kahn. What about when he merging billions of potential timelines? But everyone, no, you can't do that. Why not?
Because it's not fair.
Why is it not fair?
Because I don't want him to be that strong.
Why does it matter?
Because if he's that strong, then he could beat my favorite verse.
Essentially, that's all it is. Like, people don't understand when it comes to some of these endings, especially for Mortal Kombat's case, right? Those endings are just to show you the potential outcome that could occur. So if Shao Kahn gets a hold of the Soul Crown, guess what? He can merge billions of potential timelines, billions of potential universes or realities. He can just merge it all and take over and conquer them like he does realms, like he said in the freaking,
Ending, yep.
Ending itself. You have Kung Lao, who was able to, when he got the Soul Crown, was able to fight freaking Onaga by himself. Onaga, who's considered a bigger threat than Chronica in some of their in-game dialogue.
And the lore from Deception.
Yep. So,
if we wanted to, we can argue. We're not going to do that. We're not going to use that term. We don't do that here. But anyway, I just thought that would be interesting to really talk about real quick. So that would conclude the video games part. Small city. Exactly. But yeah, that part was a little bit lengthy. So again,
What's it feel like?
let's go ahead and conclude up with first I'm going to go ahead and conclude up with the Dragon Ball final list that I want you guys to see. So, let's go ahead and get you guys up to date on this. You guys are going to see this list, and here we go. Boom! A visual representation of Dragon Ball cosmology. Okay, so this is something I put together in order to really help visualize the Dragon Ball cosmology. Now, remember, this is not including heroes, so we have to obviously keep that in mind. And I'm going to go ahead and explain a lot of this because there are a group of people who don't agree with it, specifically because they don't necessarily understand it is more than the case. So, again, this isn't perfect, but I went ahead and started it anyway. So let me go ahead and explain this. Here's an example. Starting off in the observable universe. All right. We have the infinitely expanding universe. Now, this is going to be referencing to Daizenshu page 54 and page 20 in Daizenshu 4. There's nothing else to say about this. I've said it countless times, and I'll say it again. Roz, actually, how many times have I said this?
A crap ton.
The infinitely expanding universe is determined mainly by the direction that each king manages. So again, this is talking about regarding the direction, the cardinal direction. Period. The other scan where it says an infinitely expanding in galaxy illuminations 10 of thousands of light years, hundreds of millions of light years. Countless unknown alien monsters live beyond stars where light cannot reach. Here's the scan. So again, these are the two scans I was referring to. Pardon me. And because of this, this goes to show you that Dragon Ball has an observable universe. Edge of universe, DBZ. Dragon Ball Z has a edge and a center of the universe. So when they say things like we're on the edge of the universe so we can't scan the entire area, or they say, so find the Super Dragon Balls, we need to go to the center of the universe, there's an observable part. I've illustrated this countless of times, but in case people still don't get it, because there are people out there, no offense, who are, just ignorant. And it's okay, but people need to learn to humble themselves. This is the observable part of the universe, okay? It is expanding in all four cardinal directions or omnidirectionally infinitely, okay? It's expanding infinitely. However, this is expanding, okay? At the borders, the rest, we're going to talk about how the rest is borderless. Because again, the other two scans refer to space. Sorry, I had to emphasize. Did I emphasize that hard enough, guys?
I think you need to emphasize it just a bit harder.
Yeah, okay, got
A
you.
little harder.
Space.
There we go.
Okay. There. Infinite space for crying out loud. Gosh, I feel like I gotta talk like I'm from rock bottom sometimes. Like, I don't understand your accent. Like, anyway. Any questions, Tat? DB cosmology.
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
ATARi, what do you say about people saying Heroes doesn't incorporate all DB media? Well, real rave, I say saying Dragon Ball doesn't incorporate all of media is like saying the Force doesn't exist in Star Wars 2 because geez, I don't know, but I wasn't paying attention to 3 and 1, so it doesn't apply. That's pretty much what they're saying. That's it. That's it. It's the basic. Let me relax. Real King Rave. The best way to put it is it's ignorance, and that happens all the time. But again, I'm just putting on a character, somewhat. Well, not really. It's kind of going crazy here, but it's true that this is the infinitely expanding universe. This is 3-dimensional. We go into the pocket dimensions. Demon World in the Room of Spirit and Time. Now, again, for those who don't know, there are a lot of pages I can go into with this, but I want to keep it simple. I don't want to flood it with sources. The Room of Spirit and Time is, of course, considered to be an alternate dimension.
Yep.
Goku says as soon as you close the door, it's sealed off completely through space-time. Future Warrior Trunks, I continued to stare at my father's back as if in a trance. Then suddenly I was driven by an impulse to run after him. Wouldn't father disappear into that endless space the moment he entered the door? I had that feeling. For those who are curious, this is the scan here. But again, is Trunks actually saying that? Yeah. But does that mean the Room of Spirit of Time is infinite? Well, Daizenshuu 4 tells us it's supposed to be the size of the Earth. So again, is the surface the size of the Earth? And when you fly above, it's higher than that because it may not have a ceiling? Who's to tell? Because apparently, in chapter, I believe it's 7 actually, or chapter 6 or 7 in Dragon Ball Super manga, Goku says this place isn't going to break if we go on a rampage. All right, let's go all out. Just like old times, Vegeta. So let me ask you this. Oh, also Dende saying, I think it seems because Goten and Trunks are about to lose, Buu can be sealed in a Room of Spirit and Time. The dimension is different from this universe, so he'll never come out again. Then the Elder Kai saying he's in another dimensional world of time. So again, oh wait, one more. I'm not done yet. Oh, I know about this place. The Chamber of Spirit and Time, right? So you are familiar then. Every day that passes in the outside world, gives us 3 days here. Only 3 days, huh? I guess any extra time is better than none, since we're short on it. While the time dilation is helpful, the fact that this space is sealed off from the world is just as important, because I can unleash my full power without anyone finding out. So, how much is this telling you that this is a completely separate dimension?
It's pretty blatant at this point.
Jeez, how many?
No, it's not blatant, bro. You need more evidence, bro. Come on, man. You gotta do better.
You're right.
Bro. Come on.
It needs to
Come on, bro.
specifically be called another universe, another infinitely expanding or infinite universe, for them to take it as valid. Okay.
Dang,
there has to be
man.
a chain reaction in there somewhere. All right.
Yo, Jalen Jordan put the best comment. I have to keep chat. I got to keep explaining this. People don't realize that you can have something. You don't have to false dilemma. Let's look up false dilemma. What does that mean? Sometimes called either a fallacy. A false dilemma is a logical fallacy that presents only 2 options or sides when there are many options or sides. Essentially, a false dilemma presents a black and white kind of thinking when there are actually many shades of gray. So, what are the black and white thinking? Well, the black and white thinking is essentially saying, the black and white thinking is essentially this. Well, is it infinite or is it finite? Can't be both. By assuming it can't be both, you're automatically dismissing the mere dialect. I mean, you're missing the mere structure of how it can be read by us as the audience. Because if Koyama's calling it infinite, because he did call it infinite 4D, remember that, right, Roz and Stride? I did a stream on that with Koyama. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
He said it was infinite. But how can it be infinite, but also infinitely expanding? It doesn't make any sense. How? Well, open your mind. The point where life resides, that's the part that's infinitely expanding. Like in real life, our real life universe is interpreted nowadays, at least with modern science, to be infinite. But the part we're in is infinitely expanding. And we don't know
Yes,
how far it's reached out to. So, again, that's part of it. There you go. So, about the pocket dimensions, a pocket dimension in this context is a dimension that's completely separate. But we call it pocket because there's no defined size that I can really gauge for it. But it does have its own space-time. So that's why I put it a little bit in between, in this section between the 3D line and the 4D line. Because it still would be 4D. But in case people are skeptical, you're still likely to incline it as 3D. But I put it between 3D and 4D because the demon world is likely 3D, whereas the room of spirit and time is clearly 4D, like separated 4D. Even if it's a small 4D world that's as big as the Earth, supposedly, it's still as durable enough to handle 2 Super Saiyan Blues going all out. Reasonable?
Very reasonable.
Now, let's go on to 4D, like actual 4D. Higher alternate dimensions, such as the Dead Zone in the Room of Spirit and Time, going off Daizenshu's Dead Zone in episode 129 of the original Dragon Ball. The Time Room goes the past, present, and future. All of time is created inside that room. So this shows that the Earth contains that level of segmentation, and goes to show that there is a level of four-dimensionality in certain pocket areas within the universe. Makes a bit of sense. But when we go into the Dead Zone, a lot of people tend to think that Dead Zone is 5D. But I'm going to debunk that, actually. I don't believe the Dead Zone is 5D. Stride, you might agree with me, so will you, Roz. But let's be realistic here. The Dead Zone in DBZ, what is it? Daizenshu, please.
Daizenshu 7 says that it's a I think it was an extra dimensional black hole.
Right. It's a verbatim.
Hyperdimensional.
Yep.
Around there.
A hyperspace created through heightened ki. Now, I know in Japanese, the term for hyperspace or subspace is akukan, which sucks in everything. It is a space which freezes even one's body and soul, and which lets not even a streak of light escape. In the movies, Garlic Jr. generated one after being cornered by Goku and Piccolo, but through Gohan's power, he himself was sealed inside it. Daizenshu 6, page 44. On TV, Garlic Jr. planned to suck up the heavenly realm. So again, this is part of the Toei animation, meaning this is canon the GT. But again, he planned to suck up the heavenly realm in this context. So again, back to what I was talking about. So what do you guys think of like that? Hold on. It also says was sealed inside of him. Now I want to state this. Kami's Lookout is also nicknamed Heavenly Realm.
Yes, sir.
So the Heavenly Realm afterlife is not to be confused with Kami's Lookout, because that's where they were fighting. We can't assume he was going to go to Otherworld and suck that up with his black hole. Especially because it would be way too awkward for someone like him that early on in the series to even be that strong, because the narrative wasn't even pushing that meta back then. At least not as clear cut as with like Beerus and Majin Buu.
I know the fillers and movies were kind of pushing that narrative. It's one of those like the mainline anime and manga wasn't yet.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it too. But essentially, when you look at it closely, you realize the Dead Zone is, well, a four-dimensional hyperspace. It's an extra dimensional. But how many extra dimensions? Does it have time in it? Well, I mean, it does. But does it have an extra temporal in it? Hard to say. How do we quantify it? So because of the way the realm works, it wasn't really proven. Like, we can't assume that the Dead Zone can hold an infinite number of universes within itself. Sounds reasonable, though, right? We can't assume it. We can.
You need solid evidence to say such a thing anyway. Right.
It could be a finite size hyperspace. There's no evidence that it would fit in the scale of true 5D. Because, again, it's an assumption to say that it's infinite, because the heavenly realm is Kami's Lookout. Now, obviously, it would be a greater 4D, not even a greater 4D. It would just be able to contain the time room in it, the past, present, and future, if it sucked in the Lookout and all of the essence that goes with it in the Room of Spirit and Time. Hence why I put it higher. It's a higher alternate dimension. But what do you think about that? Is there a reason to assume that it can fit infinite universes within itself?
Infinite universes, probably not.
Not really. There's really no solid evidence to say so.
Yeah.
I mean, you
There's
can
no
say such
solid
an extra dimensional black hole, but essentially you could make an argument that maybe it can fit, a certain number, infinite number of universes in there. But the Daizenshu doesn't say so. The movies are Diller doesn't say so. So it's kind of you're making an assumption at that point.
Right. Let's move on to the next tier. Let's transcend a little bit beyond. And I call this the infinite living world, where all life resides. This is from Daizenshu 4, page 19, and Daizenshu 7, page 77, plus confirmation from Takeo Koyama. So, those are the three sources. But the infinite living world should be kind of, self-evident based on the fact that Daizenshu 4 explains it. The whole an infinite space of light and darkness where the unknown live. And then you have Daizenshu 7, which also talks about the endless space that wraps around every celestial body. It's endless means it has no border in that context. So again, the fact that Koyama also confirmed it, I believe is justifiable enough considering the nature of considering it's supposed to contain all the living elements. Dead Zone is a place where people can live, even if it's called Dead Zone. Life still exists there. Time itself contains life. The room spirit of time, it has life. Demon World has life. The observable universe has life. Essentially, when we mean life, we mean that's where the living mortals thrive at. But they're all contained in the living world, where all life resides. And a lot of people realize that was intended to be infinite. That doesn't mean there's infinite life forms. It just means that that's where all life resides. That's why I put 4D plus, because it contains multiple 4D worlds in it. But we still can't assume it's infinite 4D worlds. We can't. It's impossible. What do you guys think? Reasonable?
I would say it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
So,
not much to say, honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I say this, guys, is because I'm as much. Roz, how do I say this without sounding arrogant? Because as someone who pioneered the whole Dragon Ball being 5D stuff since 2017, in a sense, but I don't know where to go with this, Roz. What do I say? I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but how do I say this?
You know what? Just be wise.
Be wise. Credit where credit's due, I guess.
Yo, ATARi.
Yep.
What?
Yo, ATARi. Zay, I think Super Saiyan Rainbow 2 brought up. Isn't the Demon World separate?
Yes, Super Saiyan Rainbow 2. The Demon World is separate from the mortal universe. So it's kind of weird because the observable universe is also the mortal universe, because I mean that's where the mortals live. But at the same time, it's not confirmed infinite, and I have proof it's not confirmed to be completely infinite. You guys want proof? Put fires in the chat. I don't mind giving it to you.
Everyone want proof regardless. If you put fires in the chat anyway.
I know it doesn't matter if they put fires in the chat. Like, where are we going? Okay, let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are like, oh, there's fires. Sunny D, I'm about to slap. Why you gotta go Hitsugaya?
I gotta go freaking Yori and Maru, bro. That ice.
This dude just
brought different.
He just brought a Yori Maru. Hold on for a moment. I'm trying to find it, but let me see here. Where is it? Where is it? I feel like Trunks looking for the scouter right now. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Where?
I know it's here. It's got to be here. I remember him saying it verbatim, but people aren't going to believe me until I actually get it.
It was archived from existence.
Ugh.
Yep.
All right, so should I just like paraphrase it anyway?
Go ahead and try at least.
Just paraphrase it and then probably like post a scan later in the server, and maybe show it in the next stream, I guess.
Okay. I might have found it. Let me see here. I think I may have found it.
Sweet.
Yeah. I can't find it. I will put this. Akira Toriyama interview World of Dragon Ball. Oh, you know what? Guys, I think I may have found a way to find it. I think Yeah, you know what? Yeah. You know, I think I found a way to find it. Just kidding.
Found a way to find it. Found a way to find it. Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
All right, Crunk, calm down. Dude, that's actually funny because I actually watched.
Slow roll, buddy.
I actually watched like Emperor's New Groove like on Saturday.
Relations.db.full. Yep, there we go. Full color Majin Buu arc -5. So what does he say here? Toriyama. I thought up of the ball-like world so it'd be easy for both me and the readers to wrap our minds around it. The central big ball has the worlds called the living world and afterlife. And the Kaioshin oversee all that from outside as their antithesis at the bottom of the big ball are the Kaioshin who govern evil. Currently, it seems the Kaioshin's power is more superior. Now, I could see how you would assert that, but doesn't that mean it's separate? But it's kind of complicated because the way the because of Daijinsu 4 on how it kind of made it seem. But I do want to see. Does he talk about it here? Yes, here it is. The demon realm, which demon realm is literally Makaio literally means demon world. I don't know how many people know that, but Makaio means demon. I mean, Makai means demon world.
Yeah. It's like in the Yu Yu Hakusho how they call it the Makai.
Yeah. So the Toriyama,
the same thing.
Exactly. So Toriyama here says the demon realm is located in the universe, but its scale is very small. The size of the hideout for mages. The mages live in the demon realm like evil goblins. So giving off of that notion, I would still say it's obviously bigger than a dang planet. Where I'm not stupid, all right? But because he's saying it's very small in scale, it's kind of hard to assume that it's automatically going to be like a next level size. Would you guys agree with that?
Sounds about right.
Chat, do we have an agreement, my chat? Oh boy. Yo, those ads are sus. So the demon world is like galaxy size or something. Maybe bigger, Zay. It could be. It could be multi-cluster galaxy for all we know. But we don't know the size. But we know it exists. And it's still in a separate dimension. And what would separate dimensions? It would be four-dimensionality. The space between worlds. So still counts as a separate world. Now next we go into
Sagoroko space. Unknown size, but the Dragon Ball GT. I'm sorry, I had to say it like that. Dimension that sits between the living world and the afterlife. Now, a lot of people don't realize this world sits between dimensions. Like, when you instant transmission, it sits between the space. Between the afterlife and the living world. Literally, the caretakers warp reality. Even the Kaioshin can't do anything about it. They can't even go there. Remember that? How he said where our powers are useless there, we can't even go there?
Yep.
Yeah.
So is it logical to assume it's definitely going to be in a space that's more weird to access than the living world? Yeah, I would agree that it would probably be a little bit beyond the 4D plus threshold. I wouldn't call it 5D exactly, but I would say somewhere it's definitely, a lot more complicated than just traveling to a different universe. What would you guys say? At least for GT's continuity.
For GT, it would make sense. For like Super and others, not as much.
Agreed.
You Stride?
Yes.
Your thoughts on what ATARi just brought up?
On the Seguro space being inaccessible to the Kyoshins.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say it's, like you said, maybe not exactly 5D. There may be not enough evidence to suggest that, but definitely around a threshold where they can't access it, but, it's around there,
Right. So, like, it's huge. It's inaccessible. It's a different type of dimension, but we can't, again, say that it holds infinite 4D timelines in it. We know it doesn't. We can't assume it does. But we can agree that it's in the in-betweener between the afterlife and the living world. But the thing I want to say about it before we move on to the next one is that, again, because the rest, I'm just going to let you guys know, the rest is all equated to Dragon Ball Super from now on. Well, kinda. It's still the GT, but the rest is Dragon Ball Super. And before I go into that, let me let you guys know that this right here, I don't need Dead Zone or the Time Room or the Seguro Space to still have an infinite 4D plus living world. Because it's going to be the same. If you remove this, the list stays the same. If you remove this, the list stays the same. This list is made universally to suit DB, DBZ, to GT, and to Super. Not the games, not Xenoverse, and yes, in the movies. The movie scaling and stuff. But nothing else beyond that. So we got to be at least logical. So moving forward to transcend beyond that is Otherworld, which transcends all dimensions in the temporal world. Daizenshu 4, page 18. Takeo Koyama literally said, I asked Toriyama and he confirmed with us. And then Fusion's RPG Guide, DBZ episode 8. Kira Toriyama, I mentioned him because he considered them two separate worlds. So much more, right? This world is stated to transcend, and the Eastern culture, lore into it, and the whole idea of how it's structured, it is intended to be a world that can many, many dimensions, considering its own heaven is the size of the universe. Some can imply the living world. Some can imply just the observable. Regardless, even though the observable is constantly expanding, so I don't know how that will really work because there's no time. But we're not going to get into the technicalities. We're just going to say that there are multiple dimensions. Koyama himself, in case people are still skeptical, did say hell is 4D. He did say hell is 4D and is infinite and exists in the other world. So how can Otherworld be infinitely larger? Because it transcends all dimensions below the that are invisible to the living world. So that means dimensions like the Seguro space, which is invisible to the living world, transcends that. I've went over this in like 7 videos by this point. I don't think I need to keep going over it.
No,
So-
you got to. People don't understand.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going over
No,
it
you need 14 more videos.
to let people know, like, it's not I feel it is disingenuous to say it's 6-dimensional or anything like that, because right now the idea of a 5D world is something that contains, at least in the versus battle context, is a world that contains infinite number of fourth dimensional space-time continuums or continuities, something that is infinitely larger or more durable than such a dimension. So to begin with, to transcend such an infinite number, how the heck do you even deal with something like that? How do you deal with something that transcends an infinite amount of four-dimensional worlds or infinite four-dimensional manifolds of space-time? You have to be 5D by nature if you're going to use the term transcend, including additional dimensions. And for the main canon, I think this makes a lot of sense. I think it's supported through Toriyama and many others. It's not contradicted. There are people who say, how did Goku travel to that world? But I say to them this. I'm going to go to the official Dragon Ball website. And Stride, I don't know if you knew about this, but I'm going to show you this.
What?
You might find this interesting.
Okay.
You might find this interesting, my friend. Even though there are obviously going to be a little bit of plot holes, but it may explain a couple things. So check this out. So the question asked is the interview, and keep in mind, this is the official Dragon Ball website. So it's canon as it can canon. It's more canon than Nick Cannon.
As canonical as a cannon can fire cannonballs.
Basically. Does Goku's instant transmission function like a time machine? Listening to everything you've spoken of so far, I thought of something. Also, I'd like to ask, after the battle with Frieza, Goku travels to the planet Yardrak when he learns instant transmission. I have a feeling that instant transmission works in a similar way to a time machine. But what do you think? Professor Fudamase says, it's exactly the same. If you interpret instant transmission as movement faster than the speed of light, then planet Yardrat must have found a way to overcome the gravitational restraints. And again, this goes into like a lot of science. And that makes sense because the living world is all about science and the demon world's all about magic. But anyway, the main point is like the fact is, and let's see, there's a strong chance that they're successfully using negative matter. Yes, I'm not joking. That's what it says. There's a strong chance that they can. You know what, Roz? You'll read this crap. I'm not even gonna read it. It's time we give the rod to you.
All right, hang on. Let me go back real quick. God, why is my screen so blurry?
All right,
I gotta enhance the quality.
It might be fine if you to assume the screen is pretty bad.
Let me see.
Okay,
I look down for a second and my quality just drops.
Yes.
Yes. Which one am I going to read?
You're reading right here where he says there's a strong chance they're successful.
Okay. Professor Fudamase, there's a strong chance that they're successfully using negative matter. That's exactly the sort of planet that scientists like myself are hoping we'll be able to make contact with. It's currently estimated that of the approximately 200
billion
Jesus planets in the Milky Way, around half of them have water and an atmosphere similar to Earth's. There are that many.
And then if you could skip to the next paragraph where he says even assuming.
Hang on. Let me see. I'm kind of waiting for my stream to kind of like catch up real quick.
Oh, it's okay. I'm sorry. I should have given you the link.
It's all good. Let's see. Even assuming there were 100 million of such civilizations, if those 100 million were spread across the galaxy, then the distance between each of them would be roughly 100 to 1,000 light years.
Jesus.
I suppose we can only conclude that a civilization capable of using instant transmission over that sort of distance hasn't yet emerged.
And again, he's like kind of playing on on like real life in Dragon Ball, as you could see, but he's still giving an assessment based on Dragon Ball. And I would say, considering that the officials of Dragon Ball media and sources are reaching out, I'm going to take his word much more over any fans' words. That's just me. And what do you guys think? I mean, I kind of agree it works like time travel. Not that Goku can time travel on a higher temporal level, like the time machine, but I do agree that it's interdimensional. What do you guys think of that? Like it quantum leaps almost.
That sounds about right.
I mean,
it's pretty complicated. But I would say, yeah, kind of.
because, well, if I can help explain a little to clarify a couple things, think of it this way, Stride. Remember when like Goku, like the problem with Goku is like he either has to be extremely familiar with the area, like King Kai's planet, or he has to have the ability to feel your energy. Because remember when Colette had, I forgot who it was, in that big dimensional barrier, Goku couldn't instant transmission out because the barrier was so thick he couldn't sense outside of it.
Yep.
So kind of like the room, kind of remember the room of spirit and time when Elder Kai was like, "Oh, I can see inside the room of spirit and time," and Goku's like, "Really? You could sense them from here?" Well, that's what a real Kaioshin should be able to do. And then the other and Shin got a little pissed off from that comment. So it's like, yeah, and like even in Dragon Ball Super, the Elder Kais, like the Kais, they could see infinite distance all the time. That's why the people who were saying the world of void is shaking were the Kais. They were the one making the comments on that because it would kind of make sense. I mean, how the hell is Krillin going to know an infinite void is shaking? He's not going to know. But the Kais, Elder Kai, I would take his word for it, considering this dude was all the way outside the freaking macrocosm and was cheering for a battle between two beetles, two horned beetles. Yeah, let's go, baby. Like, so the way I want to also explain it a little bit, Stride, is think of it this way. You have a guy, like the Kais, they're Kai, which translates to world. That's literally what it translates to.
Yeah.
They can go anywhere. So as long as they imagine it and they know where it's at, I'm there. That's it. No problem. But I would limit it like this. It's only limited to the range of whatever the timeline is constructed under. And we're going to go over that in just a bit. But hopefully this makes a bit of sense. And yeah, this does confirm Dragon Ball has dark matter, by the way, for those who didn't know.
That should have been obvious, honestly.
I mean, that's kind of scared. That's kind of
That's
that's kind of broken, but that's kind of stupid now because now Anti-Monitor is going to have an easier time. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie, I love Dragon Ball, but that just gives Anti-Monitor a buff because now he has antimatter because that means Ki can hold antimatter, and that might mean he can. Oh crap! Yo, Dragon Ball might be screwed. Anyway. All right, going on to the next scan. Kaioshin realm, 1/10 of all that is below. That's true 4 and 7. I mean, there's not much else to really say about that. I don't put it. I mean, the fact that it's 1/10 of infinity tells me that I will put it where Otherworld is at in the 5D spectrum, but I won't put it infinitely above Otherworld because, again, even if it was, something that's 1/10 of all of that is not going to be able to contain an infinite amount of other worlds in it. I mean, come on, guys. Let's be realistic here. Come on. If it's 6D.
I don't want to be realistic. I want to be like BBW, delusional.
Yeah, be delusional, Goku.
All right.
But either way. All right, let's move forward. 6-dimensional. Oh man, we transcended beyond, and now we're at the universe 7, the macrocosm. Contains all of the universes below. Now, the question is, what do we know about this? Well, we know that when we see universe 10, there's a black background of space that continues to stretch outwardly, and it's not the contained universe as we see here. We know the contained universes often will look like this because when Super Shenron was released, we got a glimpse from them looking like this. Think of it this way, guys. When we seen Super Shenron, the universes were outside looking like this. But when we see Universe 10, they just show the macrocosm, drawn how it was in the Daizenshu. So are they switching it up, or may they be implying something? And again, this is susceptible to change, of course. But this is likely to be the case given the way Koyama went about how the ultimate infinity of all that exists within the macrocosm. How Koyama's like, hey, bro, he could destroy everything, but I don't know if he could destroy the entire true ensemble of the universe, which is a little bit consistent considering that the only character who's kind of implied to be able to do something like that is Omega Shenron, because his attack was stated to reach the Kaioshin realm, which orbits outside of the macrocosm. But again, how can you be outside the macrocosm yet still be contained within a Universal 7 bubble? Does that make sense to you guys?
No.
Not really.
Since we stated that all the UI users of Goku are on the bottom level. Yep. 60 neutral zone, 70 time ring, high ring. Yep. But let's continue forward. Now, if we go transcend one more step beyond, we go to the 7th dimension, which is going to be the neutral zone. The neutral zone is obvious because all the stars you see in the background, the neutral zone is infinitely larger than all these orbs you see. Period.
Which is the multiverse.
Basically. We transcend beyond that, and the world of, well, we don't transcend, but the world of void, infinite realm absent of space and time. Now, I didn't place this dimensional label on it because there's not enough information to just make that assumption. There's no implication. If there's an implication, we can go ahead and do it. But in the world of void, it's like the Kaioshin not accessing the realm doesn't tell me that automatically, like, it's, you know, it's not like they tried. It's not like let's teleport. It's like, no, they just told the Grand Priest they're ready, and they didn't need to go there. They just told them, and that's it. So it's really weird. Now this next one, I'm willing to admit this is a assumption, but an educated assumption. Okay, obviously we have the angel realm, but we're gonna ignore that because there's nothing known about it. We don't know crap. We don't even know if it's bigger than the universe. Who knows? But we do know it's likely not going to exist within the neutral zone. Last but not, continuing over to conclude the final point, the Zeno realm, which is the palace, Zeno Palace, contains all the dimensions below as if they were mere marbles within a larger infinity or nexus. I believe the Zeno zone or realm is going to likely be of a higher dimensionality, particularly in the context, at least within the context, that it was containing everything else as akin to fiction. Agree, to an extent. Or everything else that would be considered infinite was considered a complete finite size in this realm, in its perspective. Plus the lore. It's Zeno's world. It's literally his realm, like where he sits at the top. Nobody's higher than him. And as far as we see, even when the gods of destructions go all out, it's a threat to the whole universe. But they went all out in that arena. But then you can argue plot and do stupidity or whatever, so we're not even going to really go that deep into it. But Zeno Palace, 8th dimensional, likely. But it could be an assumption, so if you do want to ignore this for being 8D, that's completely fine. No doubt, no harm will be done there. But in this list, I put it there because that's a likely the case to be when we get more intel. And I'm pretty sure that is likely the case based on what I've found out about it in the Chozenshu and other information from the manga and the anime. But again, could be wrong. Could totally be wrong.
I mean, it's clearly above the multiverse, so I mean...
Yeah, true. But, you know...
Wait, hold on. Wasn't Zeno playing, like, chess or something with himself in that room?
Oh, yeah, you're right. Never mind. Yeah, yep. Strides just pulled a L. He just grabbed a bunch of sweets and just pulled an L real quick and say, hold on. Mr. Sorichio Yagami, wasn't Zeno playing chess? No, like, I'm just kidding.
It was like a chess with like universes, I think. I forgot.
Yeah, it was. It was Universe
It's been a
7 and
minute.
6. Yep, he was playing with the macrocosms as chess. So, like, Yumi Neko. But, you know, versus Battle's like, no. But Yumi Neko sees him as a chessboard. But that's different. They're a bunch of, they're waifus and, like, lolly. No, I'm just kidding. They're not lollies. Are they lollies?
Yo, chill, bro.
I don't even know what they are.
Hey. Hey.
What are they? What are you? Oh
My God.
boy. All right, so we got 23 viewers so far because it contains the neutral zone. So, Atari, how come you didn't use the time ring thing for a higher dimension? Oh, no. Real Rave King.
We are.
Dude, who said we are done yet, my friend? Don't shout at me. You don't need to shout at me. I will go into it right now. All right, let's go into the next one.
Did someone say lies?
Me neither, Zay. So going on, I believe 8D Zeno Palace is actually pretty reasonable. So going on, let's transcend beyond that to the 9th dimension. Or at least something that would consider itself 9th dimensional. The timeline of the multiverse. A larger temporal that contains all the below as a multiversal singularity. All events are recorded by this time ring. That's why the time ring is considered.
Yes, sir.
Why did I put it above Zeno Realm? Because there's 2 Zenos. Done. I don't need to say any more.
Yeah, and there's one Zeno realm per timeline, you know.
So there you go. GG's. But then, wait. Space between multiverse timelines? Could we go higher? Oh, Infinite Timelines, the 10th dimension, by Professor Futamase. Now, people may be wondering. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's a Fire Marshal Bill here. I know what you idiots are thinking right now. You're probably...
You're throwing it back on that one, man.
You're probably thinking that there can be infinite timelines. I mean, Dragon Ball doesn't have a confirmation of infinite timelines. Well, it didn't until we had Professor Tomase also say that, guess what? Oh my gosh. This is beautiful. Oh my goodness. Yo, Roz, I'm going to send you this on Discord. Read this. Do me the free... No, Stride. You do the honors.
Yes, sir.
I sent you the DM. Oh, wait, hold on. I'm not even done yet. Hold on. I'm not even done yet, yo. Now you read it. The whole thing, if you can. Hello?
I think
I'm sorry, bro. I gotta get ready. I gotta stretch. I gotta get ready.
Oh, he's about to power up.
All right. Professor Futamase. The concept of parallel worlds originates from the study of quantum mechanics. It says that at this moment there are infinite universes that exist, and each one of them contains one view. So if there were, say, 10 universes, then you would simultaneously exist in all of them. Simply by cognizing I'm here, the universe around you manifests. This is what's known as the many worlds interpretation.
So, in other words, what is this telling us about what Dragon Ball follows in this context? Especially considering there's a lot more that he talks about, but I'm not going to have you read all of that. Especially because he has the scan right here with Trunks, who literally says, in other words, there is both a future which Goku died and one which he lived. Each change in the past creates new futures. Wait a second. And even if Goku... And the thing is, people think, oh, there's only 7 time rings. There's only 7 time rings, Atari. You're stupid. But no, I'm not. Because Gowasu shows like a vault of like a billion freaking bajillion time rings. And he can't even count them all. So no, stop. Don't even try that. And if you want,
Stop it.
so overall, like the absolute result is Dragon Ball stops at 10th dimensional for the canonical Dragon Ball series. And like for those of you who are like, what about GT? And like GT stops at the Seguro space in Kaioshin realm. There's nothing more to explore. Even if the Garlic Jr. Dead Zone and Time Room wasn't there, the Seguro space wasn't there. I mean, the Infinite Living World still contains the Observable Universe, Pocket Dimension, Time Room, and Demon World. So it still would be that. And by the way, as a counter argument, I just want to let you know the Dead Zone is canon to Dragon Ball Super, but the thing is, we'll never see it because Toriyama said they take place in an alternate dimension. So in other words, it likely does exist, but they don't really care about it story-wise to talk about it. Now, as for people who are curious about the dimension Gogeta and Broly made, again, that's not a dimension I would count here because it's a dimension they created off of raw power, and then they destroyed it again off of raw power. Don't ask me. I didn't.
Bro, they really flexed so hard they created a string of dimensions, bro.
And everyone's shouting at me. I don't know why.
Also, ATARi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. ATARi, who is this professor?
So
Fudamase is a actual scientist who they actually went over to interview and give questions about regarding Dragon Ball. They wanted to know his opinions about Dragon Ball so it can help explorate the lore of Dragon Ball, specifically because Toriyama has been known to use a lot of science for Dragon Ball here and there, when it calls for it, of course, but he doesn't go too deep into where it confuses the reader or the audience. Same with Toyotaro. If you read Jocko's story, you'll kind of get a note of them speaking of the types of levels of sciences they talk about. So it's pretty interesting. They don't really go super duper detailed, but you can clearly see Dragon Ball does have many worlds interpretation, and it would be illogical to assert that they don't have an infinite amount of timelines. I mean, Bleach has an infinite amount of timelines. I don't know why I said Bleach so loud and mad. Why did I say it with mad force?
You had emphasized. That's all.
Even Bleach has infinite timelines. You don't believe me? Then you're a freaking it. I'm just kidding. But if you don't believe me, then I'm going to give Stride mod powers, and he will ban you.
Hakai.
You will be Hakai from existence.
But yeah, I would like to say that that's a good way to conclude everything regarding Dragon Ball. How did I get that picture? Oh, real King Rave. How do I?
He can't tell you.
I made it. Well, I didn't draw everything here. Some of them I edited, like the Seguro space. I edited. That was something I edited. The same thing with the other world and stuff. But other than that, no. Pretty much everything in here is screenshots, pictures, and just I put them together in a long big list and made it comprehensible as best as I can. Yep. The infinite amount of times, because if one timeline is 9D, that means the space that contains all of that is 10th dimensional. Now, obviously, it'd be infinite 9D. I'm not saying... Maybe I labeled it a little weirdly. Maybe I should have just said the ensemble multiverse. But essentially, Dragon Ball is almost at that level. But here's the problem. Here's the big problem. No one can destroy No one can destroy everything like that except Zeno. So it doesn't even matter. And if we're talking about Zamasu's freaking broken. I know. Oh, you want to save this picture? Yeah, you can have it. If Real King Rave, just go into the Discord. Now, let me just say this right here. This channel isn't over yet, and we have a lot we're going to still touch up on in the future. I do plan on exploring a little bit more about a couple other verses, but for now, we got to stay focused. And this is pretty much, that's it. That's pretty much it. I mean, we could take a couple questions right now, lightning round questions.
Actually, ATARi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was going to tell you that somebody in the Discord general may have some questions for you, retro.
Interesting. Like who?
Very much. So they say here that they don't know how to feel about the Mario section. And that they may have some Not sure if it's counters to what you're saying. It's in the general universe chat.
I see it. I mean, if they're questions, by all means. But again,
Oh, it's retro.
that's okay. But by all means, I want to say I don't mean this in any disrespectful way. I'm just simply making an observation as a power scaler that some have come to for some level of clearance and some level of, clarity. They may say, Atari, what do you make of this? Maybe they just want an opinion. And sometimes, Atari, how would you break this down? Specifically because of my experience with dimensional tiering and how I'm able to orchestrate it into a little bit more of an easier to understand way without overcomplicating it. I mean, there are different dimensions. I've talked about in my last video. There are bosonic theory, quantum field theory, membranes, which is part of the M theory, and much more. There are just spatial shapes you can go into, temporalities, and even pocket dimensions with different laws of physics, astral dimensions, which transcend all in the physical realm, which can include even strings itself. There's so many. There's even human emotional dimensional tiering, such as the casual body, known from Eve Powell, the casual body and ego, the Adma plane, the Buddha plane, the Ida plane, the monad triad plane, and so much more. That bastard Dark Schneider follows that, and regular dimensional tiering, that's what I was saying. Like, you guys do realize if we use the interpretation of Dark Schneider's verse, definitely does hit like some really stupid, crazy scaled levels of fighters due to their dimensionality and hacks and based on the lore. So overall, for Mario, I'm just trying to say that on the surface level, this is what it is based on what I've experienced. And because you don't want to run into that one person who may use the same arguments as me, because if you use the argument that Mario has save states, and, as someone who is a game dev, spoiler alert, I'm a game dev myself, amateur, extremely amateur, but I've done game dev myself, game development. You're going to talk to the audience through the characters in the game. And if we use the scans for Mario being able to make save states to be canonical, then we might as well say, well, when they tell Link to hit the A button, they have fourth wall awareness. How would they know what an A button is? Link, be sure to save your file on this blah, blah, blah here. What about Leon? If he has an ink cartridge and he's fighting you, can he go to a typewriter and save it? And if you kill him, he could just respawn infinitely? It's not something we put in a versus battle. I mean, if that's the case, then Hulk could have just kept coming back to beat up Broly. It's like once you die in the versus battle, that's kind of it. And sometimes inverse mechanics and game mechanics we can't always apply. It's not fair. Not only is it not fair, but it's not accurate to what is consistent with the character. Yes, I agree, Zay. Dispel Bound is pretty stupid. But yeah, some Wukong is built different for sure. Dark
Wukong.
Exactly, Zay. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I said Dark Schneider has infinite plus speed. We're not going to talk about that. Goku pressed the B button to use Kamehameha. Yeah. They tell you to save in Kakarot, which is supposed to be canon to the manga, so what are we going to say about Goku? So, at the end of the day, it's not to be disrespectful or anything like that. And if it did come off that way, I give my sincerest apologies and want to clarify it is not like that at all. But I do want to say that this is the facts that, and not even, maybe it'd be rude to just say it's the facts because everything can be changed. Miyamoto could come out tomorrow and say, nah, I saw your stream, you were wrong. Mario's out reversal, you're an idiot, Tari.
Hey, big oof.
But as far as I'm concerned right now, it's not likely going to be the case as it stands. Because, I mean, well, like I said, no, you can't block it. I'm immune. You can't kill me. No, just kidding. But all right, guys. For the time being, I think that is a good way to end the stream. Roz, Stride, did you guys want to say anything? Especially because, oh yeah, by the way, me and Stride are going to be working on something regarding Bleach for a list as well. He's definitely been helping me out on that because I have been sleeping on Bleach more than I should, especially as a big Bleach fan myself. I've been sleeping. Like, there's a difference between being a big Bleach. Oh, by the way, can we just establish, just Stride and Roz, you could be a fan of a series and not power scale it. Like, I'm a fan of Green Lantern, but I haven't actually sat down to read everything to power scale it like I did for DB.
Oh my God. Exactly, yes. I can agree to that wholeheartedly. What about you, Stride? Stride?
I think he...
Yep, he went out again.
Oh, my bad. I'm muted.
I thought he. I thought he. I was about to say. I thought he transcended. He was about to like one shot us, bro.
No. I agree. Yeah, you could be a fan of something, but you don't skim it necessarily.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I'm a fan of Mario, some of the Mario games, but I don't really power scale Mario. That I don't mess with it heavy like that. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
Exactly.
And it's not like it's not cool. I think it would be interesting to have like a definitive power scale on Mario because it's really interesting to like really break down the games, find out the things that are consistent within the Mario franchise, and then try to go off of that scale. Like, we got 3 of these feats occurring, and then 2 of these, and then 1 of these. So this one's not consistent. This is going to be the high end, and these are going to be the mid ends. And there's our conclusion for Mario right there, at least for the most part. Now, can he have other continuities? Well, again, I don't personally like. Again, what you agree with on continuities is fine because at the end of the day, we're not even nerfing Mario like necessarily on directly. We're just I'm essentially saying that Mario just has different continuities that I don't particularly agree are all exactly the same due to understanding a couple sources. But I do want to look at Mario myself a little bit closer.
You also kind of have to understand that Nintendo aren't power scalers, bro. Like, they don't make a consistent narrative. They don't make the canon very sequential. They don't like sometimes they connect like this game to that game, and then it makes zero sense. You know what I'm saying? So it's not gonna be 100% concrete, like a straight timeline.
Yeah.
Because in one game you see Peach's castle look a certain way, and then the other it looks completely different. Or in one game Mario's from Brooklyn, and then the other game Mario is from the same world as Peach and the rest of the characters.
Mm-hmm. And again, like Roz brought up a really good point. In the Rabbids game, it's kind of implying all the Marios are pretty much the same, but then it's like, are they? And it's like, well, I don't know because that game was a crossover.
Because then how are you born in Brooklyn, but at the same time you're also born in another parallel dimension?
Like, how did Yoshi take care of you?
Unless it's a Brooklyn
Also,
in a parallel dimension.
Also, what happened to the prince that was supposed to marry Peach at the end of the anime OVA?
It's exactly.
It makes no sense. It's very inconsistent.
Right. And
there's a lot of contradictions.
And it doesn't take away how strong Mario is. Mario's a freaking monster. But it's just that as far as connecting all the versions, that's like me saying, Movie Goku is technically the same as Dragon Ball Super Goku. Even though, like, it's not. But imagine if I just kept arguing that it was. Or like saying GT Goku scales to Movie Goku because they had cooler. It's like, that's just cooler. Like, I would extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. And I don't think cooler is enough evidence alone to support that. Because at best, that would just tell us, the cooler fight was canon. That's it. That's all there is to it. You can't just assume, because where was Broly at? Why didn't Broly show up again? Because he should have been in hell. Why didn't he show up? He didn't. Why? He didn't have a body. Who cares? Why didn't he show up? And even without Broly, why didn't Harudagon not show up in GT? It's weird. It's weird. So obviously speaking, like, we wouldn't say that GT, everything is canon. Like, the movies, we didn't say the movies are canon to GT because of that. Like, one cameo doesn't really tell us anything. So again, we would be careful with that. But again, at the end of the day, is Mario still definitely a beast and a contender for multiversal, rather it's his normal version or his Paper Mario version. Honestly, I feel like he would be regardless. But I do want to say that I want to scale Mario a little bit more closely and personally, because I feel like there are some things that actually may make Mario actually stronger than what most people are doing. Not no crazy out-of-versal stuff, but probably a little bit stronger than what most people are doing, with a lot of backed up content and lore. That is, no offense, a little bit more concrete. Because most of the threads I've seen on Mario is just like using game mechanics, and it's just like, you know what I mean?
For me, I'm going to jump in on this one. Now, for me, now everyone here knows that I'm the KOF guy. Everyone knows that I'm the SK guy. But the series I happen to love the most after that will happen to be the Crash Bandicoot series. You know, I don't power scale it, but I do know enough because I binge played the games as a kid up to now as a nearly 26-year-old man. And what people don't realize, like same with Mario, you know, when you go to Versus Battle Wiki, if you're doing a Crash Bandicoot's page, you're like, oh yeah, he's like wall block or city block level. I can't remember what they have him at right now. But
Small city level.
Yeah, small city level or something like that. But what people don't realize is that at least before, you know, we had the freaking Insane Trilogy and then the new official Crash 4 that came out, Crash went by one continuity for the most part, except for a couple of spin-off Game Boy games that tied into the main continuity, the mainline games. And it was pretty much consistent where, you know, by Crash 5, which is Crash Insanity, you had Crash jump from taking on, you know, Cortex and 3, you know, dodging freaking lasers that are being powered by solar energy or solar fluxes, to now he's taking on beings like the Evil Twins who conquered infinite dimensions, in which infinite dimensions in the Crashverse, the dimensions are multiverses. And you can see them like open up holes in like space and time. You can see like the multiverses like right behind them as they're going around capturing all of them, putting the whooping on Aku Aku and Uka Uka, two of the strongest characters in the series. And it's like, okay, now Crash is hitting into these multiversal territories off of scaling. Not game mechanics, obviously, because game mechanics, he can get taken out by one thing of TNT and get turned to ash.
Get hit by a rock and die.
Yeah. Or the new Crash 4, right? You know, he takes on entropy and female entropy, and their whole thing is that they're going to rewrite the entirety of the multiverse and crap like that, and Crash fights them in that. And this time, this is a whole different considered timeline now that follows the Naughty Dog timeline, while, you know, Wrath of Cortex, Twinsanity, it's kind of like the GT, essentially. So you have Crash 4, that's like Super, you have Crash Twinsanity, Wrath of Cortex, that's GT, and some of the others, but they're all considered canon by the developers themselves. They're all considered canon. They're just in different timelines now because they split it up. So even at different timelines, the consistent thing is now for Crash is that he can hit multiversal levels based off of who he's fighting. Even fighting fifth dimensional beings who can freaking cause time paradoxes by their mere existence across multiple timelines, all that kinds of crap, you know. So it's like consistent. Despite Versus Battle, we can be like, you know, small city level, he could take on like this character, but you're using game mechanics, not actual like lore and statements like you would for like say Mario, Legend of Zelda, and things like that as well, or Feats. But yeah, so it's kind of like another thing to kind of like bring up, you know,
Right.
that I could think of immediately listening to this. But that's just me.
And with that, I'm going to say, well said. So again, you can know about something. And because I know about Mario, that's why I can immediately say, are you sure Paper Mario is like the same as regular Mario? Like, and there's people like, well, Paper Mario Jam is a different Paper Mario. It's like, and I don't think so. Mario Returns Back to 2D is like, I don't think so either. I think that's a promo. And there's so many other things like the save states. So I gotta look again at Mario's feats, be reasonable about them, and really come to a conclusion about where does Mario really scale consistently. And the thing is, when you use in-game mechanics, you can, but they gotta be reasonable. Like Mario breaking entire meteorites in Galaxy casually with just a spin. I don't see a problem with that. Even if it's gameplay mechanics, I don't see a problem with that for scaling. Because it makes sense. It makes sense. You can do it. boom, breaks entire meters. Because in the cutscenes, he could do even greater things than that. So I don't see it as a problem. So again, as a result, I think it's completely fine. But again, I think that's going to be a good way to conclude the stream. So again, guys, we're going to conclude the stream at least for this tiering system because, again, work nights, maybe April vacation, but not for me and not for Roz. So again, we do appreciate you guys for coming through on the stream. We'd like to thank you guys. We love you. You guys are amazing. Thank you again for showing up to the stream. We've hit 1,100 subscribers. So
1,100. Let's go.
It's over 100. Wait, what? And then Vegeta just goes crazy. It's over 100 and it's over 1,000. Well, that's not that bad.
What? 1,000?
Oh God.
It's over 1,000. Who's dead? But anyway, guys.
Bro, next stream is about to be why Yamcha's Outerverse.
Exactly. So
He's tier 0.
the next stream is going to be focused mainly on Q&As. So guys, get your questions prepared because I'm going to be trying to answer as many as I can. And stay tuned for the next exciting episodes of ATARi Live. Oh, wait, actually, next episode on ATARi Live, I'm going to be reacting to the next super chapter. Okay, so anyway. Anyway, guys, that's about it. So we're going to say thank you to everyone, and you guys have been awesome. You guys are the best, and thank you to everyone else. All right, so we're going to see you. Bye-bye. It's ATARi HMB. We're signing off. Peace.
Ciao.
Okay, bye.
Crazy,